Start with yesterday's Saints game as a Who Dat Christmas comes early, right? A week early here, the week before Christmas. In a bad year, you had a chance to beat your arch rival, and, you got it done, right? Because even in a bad year, you're not as bad as the Falcons. It doesn't even matter what your final record ends up being. Like, it does not even matter if you end up with a worse record than the Atlanta Falcons. You 2-0'd them. So in a year where both of y'all are irrelevant, no Falcons fan can talk trash to you at all. And I think there's value there. And you might say, well, I would ask the question, was it easy? No. I mean, not as easy as it definitely looked like it was going to be at the beginning of the game. And at times, I found myself almost like overly frustrated. This Falcon team's bad. They got a rookie starting quarterback. How are the Saints not putting him away? How are they not doing better? And then I was like, oh, wait, that's right. The Saints are a bad team. And that's how it works with bad teams. Plus, it's the NFL. I mean, you saw the Houston Texans take the Kansas City Chiefs to overtime for a fumble that ends up wrapping it up for the Chiefs. So, no, you will not get me down in this holiday time of thankfulness. And I will be thankful for what the Saints have given you, which is beating the arch rival, sweeping the arch rival Atlanta Falcons. And look, there were some nice pieces, be it Raheem Shaheed, Lil Juwan Johnson, Eric McCoy came back at center. You could see some pieces, like we said, as you kind of scout this team that you can carry over into the future. Now, Jake, I know you don't have any you grew up having love and passion for the Saints, but obviously your NFL path, your NFL life led you elsewhere. And so you're not watching this game like, oh, you got to beat the Falcons because screw them. But did you get to watch any of yesterday's game?
I did get to watch it.
What'd you think?
I thought that offensively you did some things that you probably should have done a mixture of all season long.
Yeah.
You mixed in Taysom Hill's package. And like Juwan Johnson being healthy is crucial for this team. And that's not something I thought I would say coming into the season. But regardless of who's playing quarterback, they like to target Juwan Johnson, and he's been really, really good. I mean, he had 4 for 67, the 2 touchdowns, and they were missing that. And I guess I didn't realize, just how much they missed that when he was out.
It's true, neither did I.
I mean, he is a key piece for them. And so offensively, there was a lot of things that I liked that you start to implement back into the game plan. Look, I am not the guy that sits up here and yells that Taysom should be the starting quarterback. He should not be. But like yesterday, and we've seen it probably 3 or 4 times this season, they've done a nice job of implementing him in the offense. I mean, the stats don't lie. Like when he touches the football, the Saints record compared to when he doesn't, I mean, it's night and day. So through 2 passes, 80 yards and a touchdown. Okay. 7 rushes, 30 yards, over 4 yards per carry. Perfect.
Yeah, and I was glad to see at the end of the game when you're trying to ice it and you have to have first downs that you have Taysom Hill in there for those short yardage situations. Just so easy. If I'm running, not even short yardage, if I'm running a 4-minute offense, I'm just putting Hill out there. Like unless maybe you get into an obvious passing situation, you want to put Dahl, make him think, but even then, not really, because Hill can throw the ball.
Yeah,
as evidenced by Shaheed. So no, like in a 4-minute offense, Taysom Hill is the Sean Payton. He is like the if you were to make a 4-minute offense quarterback in a lab, it would actually probably spit out Taysom Hill. So there were definitely some positives. Hill's another piece that you can maybe carry forward into this kind of rebuild of the New Orleans Saints. I think Raheem Shaheed remains pretty interesting to me. He is who I thought Deontay Hardy would be coming into this year. Anytime that you can burn guys on an NFL field like that, like anytime you look faster than these guys, you have next level speed. And like I think I can't remember, maybe Schler said it yesterday, but like I don't know what he runs in the 40. But he is one of those guys that when the pads, like, because I don't remember ever hearing about, like, I'm sure it's like a really great time, right? But I don't know if it's like record breaking or anything. But when the pads come on, he maintains every single tenth of that second, whereas maybe others do not because he looks faster than everybody out there.
Yeah, 100% he does. And he's been a player that's made big plays since he's gotten implemented into the roster, not only at receiver, but in the return game. Like, he gives you a different threat. So, and you said it. I mean, we thought it was going to be somebody else. We thought this whole Saints team was going to be someone else. And we thought it was going to be other players that were going to be the someone else. Like Shaheed, Jawan Johnson being your top 2 receivers this late in the season against the Falcons, never would have had that.
So speaking of the Falcons, it is interesting they play a rookie quarterback, right? Marcus Mariota's now stepped away, so you can't imagine that Mariota's going to be in any of the future plans unless some major healing, and I mean like relationship healing, takes place over the offseason. Do you think, did Desmond Ridder show you anything yesterday? Like, is that maybe could that be a viable option for the Falcons in the future? Like, could you see them? It's a small sample. It's a very small sample, obviously. But is he maybe someone that the Falcons could see themselves committing to in the short term, maybe even while they try to figure it out, a la Jalen Hurts? Remember, everybody loves Jalen Hurts now. Before the season began, that was not the case. This was, okay, Jalen has to prove whether they've given him all the weapons. Now he has to prove he's the guy or not, and if not, we're going to replace him.
I mean, I didn't see anything yesterday, T, that made me think that he could be somebody in the future. Not to say that he can't down the road. Obviously, it's a one-game sample size. He's a rookie quarterback, and going against a veteran defense, I mean, he held on to the football a little too long.
Yeah.
He was inaccurate with the football. He ran 6 for 38, so you kind of, going into it, you assume that's what he could do. And he said it after the game. He's like, look, I got to pass the ball better. I mean, that was not winning football. That wasn't helping my team win games. He's a third round?
So he gets it better than Zach Wilson does.
Yeah, yes.
So the fact that he had a much better game than Zach Wilson did. He already understands the leadership aspect of quarterback better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, but he was a third-round pick, so he wasn't a first-round pick. He wasn't even a second-round pick, obviously. And so, they're not counting on him to be the quarterback of the future. At least they shouldn't be.
No.
And this quarterback is filled with – or this draft, is filled with quarterbacks that they probably could take a long look at. And so I can't imagine him being the guy of the future. He'd be a nice secondary piece. He'd be a nice backup if you want to have something for him as far as a handful of plays, because he does have running ability. That's fine. I didn't see anything yesterday. Grab the laces, by the way, Desmond. That's not a quick pass.
As evidenced by the pocket forming around him. Yeah, maybe. I think you might be right on that one. Okay. Just a little food for thought there. As both teams kind of enter these rebuild of the offseason. One thing that I do love, boys. Oh wait, sorry, Mario, Danny. Anything to add on the Saints Falcons game yesterday?
Not really. Good win. Horrible season, unfortunately, but a little better given the fact you swept the Falcons.
Yeah. You swept the Falcons. You continue to do fact finding on who is there to help you. Here's my question: what happened to the Falcons' run defense? Were Malcolm Brown, Malcolm Roach, were they that important to this whole thing? Because you're talking about a Saints, did I say Falcons run defense? Excuse me.
You did.
Saints rush defense. You set an NFL record. Wasn't it 53 games or something without allowing a 100-yard rusher? And then I know the Eagles finally got it on you to break that record, but you were still elite at the time. Now, you're giving up, old boy yesterday, it was his first career 100-yard game. If you want to talk about the biggest difference on the defense, I know Lattimore being out, everything else is obviously brutal, but and losing the safeties that you've had that have now gone on to thrive elsewhere. But probably the biggest difference between these great teams of the last few years and this year's team is the run defense. Just night and day.
Yeah, I remember being shocked when the Eagles broke that streak. And then I think Washington had another 100-yard game, and it was 2-1 seasons. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Think about that.
And I think
teams have 10, 12
I think Malcolm Brown was out those games.
Was he? Oh,
I'm not 100%. Maybe I'm wrong there. I feel like I remember talking about it at the time.
Yeah, but again, this Saints team is unfortunately doing and giving up things that they've not done in a very, very long time. And the injuries on that position too, and drafting edge rushers and drafting D linemen that don't see the field because of injury doesn't help in the run game. Especially when
Wasted
you're
resources.
Peyton Turner's supposed to be this run stopping edge defender as well. So that part of it hasn't helped.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But crazy enough, the Saints are still only one loss behind Tampa Bay at 6-8.
Okay, so now we arrive at something else that I wanted to talk about here in this first segment, which is many of y'all probably don't remember because nobody listens to all 3 hours of the show every day. But we had a very quick mention last week at some point, can't remember when it was, of the uber hilarious NFC South scenario that could result in every single team finishing 6-11 and the Panthers winning the division. And boys, everything you needed to happen here this week happened. Okay, remember, it's very simple. For everybody to finish 6-11, and for everybody in the South to finish, you needed the Saints to win their 2 remaining division games, and you need the teams to go to lose every out-of-division game, and then I think it's that you need maybe the Panthers win their division games. Well, what happened this weekend? Saints beat the Falcons. Okay, check one of the 2 they needed to. Bucks lost to the Bengals. Panthers lost to the Steelers. So still a couple of weeks away from a reality, but we are one step closer to the 6-11 top-to-bottom dream. Here's to hoping that it can continue.
Who would get the tiebreaker at that point?
The Panthers win the
Okay.
I didn't read about why, but
Right, but it doesn't matter.
yeah, through a Byzantine web of wins and home losses and NFC records, the Carolina Panthers, who fired their coach, would end up winning the NFC South at 6-11 over Tom Brady, a Saints team that's been the class of the NFC for the past 15 years. I mean, it's just so fantastic.
They've started at least 3
Falcons.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Baker,
Yep.
Sam Darnold, Walker.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Am I
about
missing
PJ Walker.
Am I missing anybody?
They traded Christian McCaffrey.
Traded Christian McCaffrey. That's right. Their best player, undoubtedly.
I mean, they already own the tiebreaker over the Falcons and the Saints, and then if they beat the Bucks, they sweep the Bucks. I believe. You might want to double check me on that. Panthers been sneaky good in the division.
Kind of laid an egg yesterday too.
Against the Steelers.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any.
I mean, they only lost by 8, but it was a game, and they had an opportunity, and they got a tough stretch with Detroit, and then they got the 2 conference games like you mentioned. But they beat Tampa Bay 21-3.
Think about that sentence. They got a tough stretch with Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Take
yeah.
a bow, Jared Goff and company, dude.
Oh yeah.
Dan Campbell got them boys playing, beating the Jets yesterday. Who the poor Jets, they seem so good early on. They seem like this is finally going to be their year, and they just can't, last few weeks, just can't find a way to close it out, dude. Just like the Cowboys. Suck it, Cowboys. We're going to talk about that more a bit later
Detroit
on.
1-6, and now they're 7-7.
Yeah. Yeah. How crazy is that? 1-6 to 6-1. Actually, it's almost exactly like what that Miami Dolphins team did.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago with Brian Flores. Congrats to Detroit. All right, when we get back, so look, man, who dat, okay? Screw the Falcons, 2 owed him, couple nice pieces to carry forward. Those are my big takeaways from the game.